Imagine a quiet little town where life feels simple and safe. Families wake up to the sound of birds. Children run freely on dusty roads, and old neighbors wave at each other as the sun rises. It looks like a picture from a postcard, peaceful, timeless, almost untouched. But deep in the distance, beyond the hills and the forests, a different story is already unfolding. A spark, a small flame. At first it looks harmless, like just another campfire in the woods. But in California, one spark is enough to create a nightmare. The wind blows, the ground is dry, and in a matter of minutes, that little flame transforms into a wall of fire. And while the townspeople sleep peacefully in their beds, the fire is already racing towards them, faster than a car, louder than thunder. By the time they wake up, the town they built for generations is no longer safe. In one night, everything they know, everything they love, can vanish into smoke. This is not just a story of a wildfire. This is the story of entire towns disappearing, turning into silent ghost towns, abandoned, lifeless, and haunted by the memory of what once was. When the fire arrives, there is no mercy. It doesn't knock on doors. It doesn't give warnings. It consumes everything in its path. For the families living in these towns, the nightmare begins with the sound of sirens, the smell of smoke seeping through their windows, and the sudden knock of firefighters shouting, "You need to leave now!" Mothers rush to grab their children. Fathers desperately look for important documents. Some try to save their pets. But in the chaos, there's only one truth. You cannot take everything. You can only take what you can carry, and sometimes you leave with nothing at all. Imagine spending your whole life building a home. Every photo on the wall, every memory in the furniture, every toy your child ever owned. And within hours, all of it is reduced to ash. Some families escape with their cars, their headlights piercing through the smoke as flames surround the road. Others are not so lucky. They're forced to run on foot, carrying children in their arms, coughing, blinded by tears and ash. And when the fire finally passes, what remains is not a town anymore. It is a skeleton, streets filled with blackened trees, cars melted in place, houses turned to shadows. A ghost town born not of time, but of fire. For many, the fire does not just destroy homes, it destroys identities. A town is not only made of buildings, it is made of memories, of generations who lived, loved, and worked there. When the flames sweep through, schools vanish, churches collapse, shops that once served as gathering places turn into ruins. The places where birthdays were celebrated, where first loves blossomed, where neighbors shared laughter, now nothing more than blackened dust. Some towns never recover. Families scatter, forced to move to new cities, leaving behind the ashes of their history. The streets once filled with life now echo with silence. Mailboxes stand in front of homes that no longer exist. Playgrounds where children once screamed with joy now lie in shadows of burnt trees. It is here, in this emptiness, that you feel the weight of what has been lost. A ghost town is not just empty buildings. It is the broken heart of a community, frozen in time. And perhaps the most haunting part is knowing that tomorrow, it could happen again in another town, with another family. But wildfires in California are not accidents of fate alone. They are fueled by something bigger, the climate itself. Every summer, the air grows hotter. The land grows drier and the winds grow stronger. What used to be a season of warmth has become a season of fear. Scientists call it the perfect storm. Rising temperatures from climate change, years of drought leaving forests like tinder, and powerful winds that carry flames faster than anyone can escape. A single spark from a fallen power line, a careless cigarette, even a car accident, can ignite a disaster that burns for weeks. And unlike other natural disasters, wildfires don't just strike once and go away. They return year after year, burning the same regions, destroying towns again and again. Imagine rebuilding your home, only to watch it burn down a second time. Imagine living in constant fear that the next gust of wind could erase your future. For the people of California, this is not just a tragedy of the past. It is a cycle, a nightmare they live with every summer. In the heart of destruction, there are also stories of survival. When the flames close in, people discover strength they never knew they had. A father carrying his child through smoke-filled streets. A mother driving through walls of fire, whispering prayers as the heat cracks her windshield. Elderly neighbors helping each other escape when they can barely walk. In moments like these, survival becomes an act of courage. And then there are the heroes, firefighters who battle day and night, risking their own lives while the world sleeps. They climb into burning forests. Armed with nothing but water hoses and sheer determination, many never return home, yet they fight anyway, because they know that behind them are families who need saving. Volunteers, too. Strangers opening their homes. Schools turning into shelters. Communities cooking meals for evacuees. Even when the fire takes everything, humanity remains. Yes, wildfires turn towns into ghost towns, but they also reveal the strongest parts of the human spirit. The courage to fight. The will to survive. The compassion to help others even when you have nothing left. When the flames finally die, what remains is silence. Streets that once carried laughter are now lined with ashes. Homes that stood for generations are reduced to blackened skeletons. Playgrounds are twisted metal, schools are empty shells, and the heart of the town beats no more. Families who return cannot recognize the place they once called home. They walk through the ruins searching for something to hold on to. A photograph, a piece of jewelry, even a fragment of a childhood toy. But most of the time, there is nothing left. Insurance cannot replace memories, and money cannot rebuild the soul of a community. These towns, once full of life, become ghost towns frozen in time, where silence tells a louder story than words, a story of loss, of grief, and of questions that may never be answered. How do you rebuild when everything that defined you has been erased? For many, the answer is simple: you don't. You move on, and the ghost town remains, a monument to what once was. These ghost towns stand as a warning, not just to California, but to the entire world. They remind us how fragile life is, how quickly everything we build can vanish in smoke. A home, a street, a whole community, gone in a single night. Yet within the ashes, there is also a lesson. We cannot control the fire, but we can choose how we respond. We can choose to rebuild stronger, to protect one another, and to honor those who were lost. And maybe, just maybe, these empty towns will not only be monuments of destruction, but also symbols of resilience. Because in the end, the true ghost is not the fire itself. It is forgetting the people who lived, loved, and dreamed there. So when you hear the word California, don't just think of Hollywood and sunshine. Remember also the ghost towns of fire and the voices that still whisper through the ashes.